What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of the Extra Yard. Today is the cut show, and we figured since the Dolphins were cutting people, we would add some people to the show, make my life a little bit easier so that I don't only have to talk to Kai, Juan, and Royal, who honestly I detest with all of my being. I am lucky enough to be joined by Alfredo Arteaga, who you guys very much know well because he knows football way better than anyone else on here from 3 Yards per Carry. Alfredo, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bro, shut up. And I want to make sure, Hussam, am I?
Yeah, man. What's up?
Okay, cool. We're joined by Hussam as well, who just joined 5 Reasons Network recently. He's going to be on the post-game shows with Lewis throughout the season, so make sure to check that out. Hussam, thank you very much for being here. I look forward to talking football with someone who's not going to be an absolute jerk. I'm speaking to you, Kai and Juan.
I'm sorry, and I know my role.
Yeah, exactly. Shush. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, but before we get into that, I do want to let you guys know again, and we're going to talk about this every time, check out Thrive Fantasy. We have the links down in the description. We have the Dolphins contest that is going on for week 1. It is super easy. My strategy for that, because Kai asked me last time what I was doing, my strategy for that is literally just pick the highest possible points, and I just did that. So if I picked an under on Tua because it was worth more points, I just did that because I'm just trying to win the money. That's all I wanted. Now, you can also use the code 5FINS to have a 100% money match deposit from Thrive Fantasy up to $100. So you put in $100, they will match that $100 for you. You can use it for other prop bets across whatever it is because the Dolphins 5 Reasons contest is free. So that's an easy way for you to get involved with some fantasy stuff. Make sure to check that out. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. We have a bunch of stuff coming out. We have some other things we'll tell you about at the end. But now that we're done with all of that, I know it was a lot of talking. I apologize. Let's talk some Miami Dolphins cuts, and let's go through some notable cuts. Juan, I'm going to start with you, and we're going to have everybody say this. Pick the number one player that was most notable to you that the Dolphins cut in the past couple of days, right? What's the number one player that kind of stands out to you? I don't know. That's too much Juan for me, Kai. Maybe pull him up.
Yeah, let's go back. It's all right. We don't need all that. I'll let Juan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still partially shocked with the Bernardrick McKinney cut. It kind of was from left field. I know we saw probably a week's worth of practices from Landon Roberts, and they made their determination as far as what they want to do with that. I just still feel like Landon is who he is, and it wouldn't shock me by week 8 if his body starts to give out again. We're going into a 17-game season. I probably would have thought maybe you stagger them a little, but just looking at who they kept as far as the linebacking group, I mean, maybe they could have gone with not getting, Duke in there or Scarlett in there, but it was a little bit of a shock to see Bernard McKinney get cut.
Okay. You know what? I think we're going to do it this way just because it's more interesting and it's more content. I do want to talk about, whatever player people talk about, go into why it was surprising to you, where you think they might have been useful, and let's discuss that one. Now, Alfredo, you put out a tweet today where you mentioned the Bernardrick McKinney cut. I believe it was the Bernardrick McKinney one that you mentioned. Wasn't all that surprising to you because of some of the things that you'd seen at training camp? Do you want to go a little bit more into Bernardrick McKinney and why maybe that signing may not have been as shocking to you as it was to Juan?
Well, when it happened yesterday, I went on immediately on OnlyFans, and I was completely shocked. And then I thought about it for about 60 seconds, and I thought to myself, all they really did was they got 19 days of seeing Bernardrick McKinney do one thing and one thing well. He comes downhill, he plays 2 gaps, and he hits people at the line of scrimmage, right? And he's big, powerful. He looks great as a middle linebacker. Landon Roberts showed up for one practice, beat the hell out of every single running back we have. And they looked at him and they said, oh, we kind of wasted our time for an entire month with Bernardrick McKinney when we already had this guy on the roster for much, much cheaper. So, and he was also Brian Flores' guy already. So they said, you know what? Yeah, this was kind of a waste of time. Let's just get Landon Roberts acclimated and Bernard McKinney out of here.
Kai and Hussam, do you guys think that Sam Eguavoen had anything to do with this as well? Because I know that Landon Roberts definitely did, but Sam Eguavoen kind of showed out in that second preseason game with 4 sacks, one of those 4 sacks leading to a safety. Do you think that Sam Eguavoen had anything to do with that? We'll start with Hussam and then we'll go to Kai.
I think so. I mean, if you look at Eguavoen's growth from 2019 and now, it's been a pretty big one. 2019, the dude was put on skates a lot. I mean, a lot. And it was a growing experience for him as well. We didn't see him play a lot in 2020 because you had KBN playing, you had Landon Roberts playing as well. You had Andrew Van Ginkel, who is coming on as well. But I mean, that game with his 4 sacks, it showed that he could be a pure pass rusher along with a run stopping type of linebacker. So that helps out as well. As for Bernard McCurry, as Alf said, it's the same thing as well, just a bigger contract. You have a cheaper guy in Guavin. And I honestly do think Miami goes the inside linebacker route come next draft as well.
Okay. Kai?
I mean, I loved his performance that he had, talking about Sam Eguavoen, however you say it. It was said so many different ways. I don't know exactly how he says.
I want to call him Guava and Cheese now.
Whatever, however he says his last name. But I'll say both, because sometimes we say Reed Sinnett and then it's Reed Sinnett, whatever it is. But
Michael likes to say Gaskins.
Yeah, some people like Juan like to say Gaskins.
By the way, there's evidence to suggest that Sam Eguavoen has pronounced his name 2 different ways in the last 3 years.
That's amazing.
Okay, because he did an interview. He did an interview in 2019 where it says, "No, my name is Eguavoen," and then he did an interview late last year where he says, "No, it's Eguavoen." So
he's trolling everybody.
He's doing something very similar to what Patrick Surtain used to do down here. For 4 years, he was called Patrick Surtain. Everybody used to call him Patrick Surtain. And one day at his locker, somebody asked him, Mr. Surtain, can I ask you a question? He goes, well, first of all, you got to pronounce my name correctly. My name is Surtain. And everybody just looked at him like, dude, you've been here for 4 years. You could have told us this like in year 2, maybe. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Kai. Sorry to interrupt.
Hey, listen. No. As someone who has a name that's hard to pronounce, kind of worldwide, no matter where I'm at, I understand the pain.
Not hard to pronounce.
Yeah. Whatever, bro. Okay, listen. I listen. All right, I'm not even gonna get into it, but I liked his performance that he had in week 2, and I think it all just kind of comes back to more of the Landon Roberts stuff. Realistically, if they felt that being able to have Landon Roberts and then already restructuring McKinney's contract, already getting out of some of the money for the next 2 years and saving some money off of that, if they're going to be able to do that, as we saw with someone else that had a restructured contract today, I feel like it was best for the Dolphins to just move on, and that's what they did.
So, Roel, I would ask you about the linebackers, but I'm pretty sure you've got plenty to say about whatever player you think was the most surprising cut today. So I'm just going to give it to you, Roel. What's the most surprising cut, either today or yesterday, whenever it was, that the Dolphins made to get down to 53?
Yeah, I feel like it was racist of you not to let me talk about Bernard McKinney. It was because you let everybody else go. Could you take me off of full screen, please?
It's not me.
I don't like that either. It makes me feel. But anyways, to just throw in one quick thing, Bernard McKinney is terrible in pass coverage, and so I just wanted to put that out there. The most surprising cut to me was probably Matt Skura. I didn't see it coming personally. I thought they would keep him on the roster, even though he had lost his job to Dieter. I don't know if it was ever really his job, but he was somebody who was looked at as potentially being able to man that center spot, and he went from that to being cut. And I don't know if that was a product of how he was playing during camp or if it was more so a product of the confidence that the Dolphins had in Dieter. So, I mean, that one kind of shocked me a little bit. And like I told you, bro, offensive line is what I am going to harp on because I believe that's where this team needs the most help. And it just was interesting to me to see them, potentially give up on some of that depth that they could have had at the position.
Yeah, I think with Matt Skura, there was a good amount of us that had hope in what he could be. I think, you guys had talked about it on 3 yards per carry where Matt Skura was a good blocker. I mean, I don't know exactly what year it was, but there's a graph that ESPN did at one point was talking about blocking grades. And I understand blocking grades are very, debatable, but he was up there as one of the top blockers in the NFL. And then something happened along the way. He forgot how to snap. It wasn't working out. And when the Dolphins brought him in, they were able to do it for cheap. They were hoping that they could figure it out. And he just never really got a chance with the first team. Juan, I'll let you go first on this one. You were never a big fan of Matt Skura, from the beginning. And I remember you saying that from the moment we signed him. Are you kind of just good riddance now that we got Greg Mance?
No, I mean, I guess I felt kind of like how you were saying towards the end of it. I mean, he was an overall good blocker. He just was struggling with the snapping part of it. And when he was first signed, it was I don't think any of us had an idea, or maybe somebody did, but that Dieter was just going to kind of be handed the center spot and not necessarily lose it. It was just never really a serious competition, in my opinion, from Skura. But I was surprised. I feel like if anything, they would have kept him for depth, and also just to kind of play like a guard role, if anything. But no, they decided to not. They traded for the Mance kid, I think you said. And for now, we'll see if they add any other centers, because I think they cut both him and I always messing up Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron Tom.
Yeah.
Now I do want to throw this one to Alfredo, because I think out of everyone here, you probably have seen Matt Skura the most, in a Dolphins uniform, Alfredo. So what was it, the Greg Mance trade that kind of pushed him out? Was there something about Matt Skura in camp that kind of pushed them to make that trade to get Skura out? What happened? It just seemed like it never worked.
Sometimes they just you sign somebody, and you're half-hearted about it. I think they signed Matt Skura really thinking that Dieter could win the job, and Matt Skura never really had a shot. He never had any snaps with the first team offense, and I think he had some clean tape in some of those games too. So I didn't understand it, because I thought, the worst case scenario, he's an emergency center, which is kind of strange for a guy that could snap it over Lamar Jackson's head like 4 times in a game, that he's your emergency center. But just in case, he could be your emergency center, and he could play a little left guard. He could play a little right guard, because he's done it before, and he's done it well before.
Yeah.
But they decided, you know what? Let's make this trade for Greg Mance. I don't know anything about Greg Mance, but CK's been digging into his film, and he's like,
Pro Football Focus loves him. Like,
yeah,
and
he
was like #1 player overall the first week, I think it was, of the preseason. Second week he was like the 6th, but yeah,
and the reason he gets out of there is because he's kind of in a contract dispute. He wanted a little bit more money, and the Ravens were like, we're not going to deal with this, so let's just trade him. But CK's dug into some of
They
his
already
tape.
had Bradley Bozeman too from Bama.
Yeah. So, CK dug into his tape, and he says, man, his tape is getting good as I watch it. So maybe there's something there. And they just looked at it and said, look, we're not in this Matt Skura business anymore. And I think the emergence of Robert Jones. Robert Jones is a legit backup guard on this team. He has really good tape in the preseason. I want to see more. I think the emergence of Robert Jones made Matt Skura completely expendable. And they said, you know what? Let's not waste any more time with this. Dieter is the starter. Let's just get Matt Skura out of here.
And we kind of have to talk about this a little bit. And Alfredo, I'll go to you first on this one, because I want you to talk me down if I'm just way off base here. But it feels to me like this front office and Flores and everybody, they don't feel any sort of attachments to players that they bring in, whether it be free agents or trades. If they feel pretty early on that it's not working, they're fine letting you go. If you got Benardrick McKinney, who was cut. You've got Matt Skura that was cut. You had Kyle Van Noy, who was signed last year, who was let go. They brought in the guy who's now with the Jets, Shaq Lawson. They got Shaq Lawson. They got rid of him too, real quick. This team doesn't
Shaq
seem
Lawson
to be very.
Been tossed around the whole AFC.
Yeah, listen, they have no connections to anybody, and they're like, if we feel like it's not working, you're out the door. I think it's a good thing, but talk me down if it's not.
You know what? I think it's a good thing, because this regime is a lot like the New England Patriots. It's not show friends, it's show business. And you can just see it by the way that they operate. My God, what they did to Jakeem Grant today. Jakeem, I don't know if he's married or not, but if he got home, I know he went to his wife and said, baby, that house you were looking at, don't.
You got a downside.
Don't. That car, I know you wanted that new Lexus that came out, but you know what? Maybe we can get. Maybe, let's pay off what we got right now. And
let's look at some townhomes.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, let's look at some townhomes, maybe in the Jacksonville area.
Let's look at a rental. Yeah, let's look
fixer
at a rental,
upper.
because this may not be here for very long.
I don't know how
he's got to sell his customized merch.
Yeah, but I don't know how Jakeem today, when he got home, his wife had to have been looking at him like,
bro, what you did?
He made the
entire
and
Jakeem,
come on.
that cannot feel good. That cannot feel good. They call you into the office, you're like, oh shit, I'm getting cut.
You know,
but I got $2 million coming to me, so who gives a shit? And then they tell you, you know what? You want to stay on
for 3?
Give us back half your money. Can you imagine that? You writing checks to the Dolphins to play for the Dolphins?
You guys, listen. Every time Jakeem Grant does something notable, I'm messaging all of you.
It was the greatest thing. Imagine that. We got to get rid of Jakeem Grant for the next couple of years. while keeping him just for this year and getting him for less money this year.
You know
that
what?
was
You know
like the
what's crazy,
most
though?
amazing
They-
deal.
And I
They
think he
have
has to
like
send,
kept him.
I think he has to
Like-
send each of us like $500 a month or something for like the next 5 years or
Dude,
something, like, because
this
that
is
was brutal
amazing.
what they did to him today.
Yeah,
No,
bro.
but
They
Mike, I
basically
think
said,
Pressed
all right,
him
we're going
down.
to keep you this year, cut off your next 2 years, and then you're going to stay. And he was like, okay, I guess so. Like,
yeah, Mike, if he
so
does
great.
anything great this year, it doesn't matter now because he's a whole lot cheaper. Like I think our
Listen,
whole
He
thing
don't got-
was,
he don't got- he's a free
Hey, listen,
agent,
for
right?
this
To me,
1.5 we got taxed off. If he does
Nah,
anything
listen,
great,
I'm
a
gonna move
Jakeem
on from
Grant
this. I'm gonna move on from
truther.
this. We've had conversations, but we're
You
not.
had
doing
this for fifth. You had this for
We're not-
fourth or fifth, and
Yeah.
I don't even know if you're gonna bring it back up.
I'm not. You guys just
Should.
upset me.
We
More
can
than
have a
anything else.
legitimate conversation
nope.
about Jakeem Grant. I really
Kirk.
believe we can.
Shut up, Kirk. All right, I'm gonna throw it to Lewis now. Lewis, we were talking about most notable cuts. Who was the most notable cut to you that the Dolphins made, or the most surprising, whatever it be? Juan picked Bernardrick McKinney, and Royal picked Matt Skura. So you have free reign for literally anybody else. And I'm making up for it to go last because I'm pretty sure after that we're gonna reach the bottom of the barrel.
I mean, to say what the most surprising pick was, then yeah, I would have to say Bernardrick McKinney. So I guess that if you're going with that, he was the obvious choice for that. I wasn't particularly shocked by the Matt Skura cut simply because, again, once Greg Mance was in the picture, I was like, yeah, his time in Miami is numbered because, again, Greg Mance has connections to George Godsey from their time in Houston, and Skura is not living up to the expectations. The idea with Matt Skura was that he was going to be so good that there was going to be no question about who was the better guy, and that just never materialized. Matt Skura did not absolutely dominate the second team. He was not knocking guys over, pancaking guys. That's the kind of player that would have had to like secure the starting job at center. That didn't happen. Michael Dieter and him were kind of comparable in a sort of way. And so with that in mind, they were going to go with the younger guy. Their particular draft pick, they chose this guy, and they wanted to develop him from the ground up. So I was not particularly surprised by Matt Skura. McKinney, I was surprised by. I figured that in my mind, if the perfect scenario would have been if you were going to have two thumper linebackers on your team, I would rather you have Bernardrick McKinney starting and a Landon Roberts as your main backup, because that would have been the perfect scenario. That way, if something happens to McKinney, well, you just go seamlessly into a Landon Roberts. And in the meantime, Roberts can play special teams. And I'm perfectly okay with that. And the funny thing is that Alf mentioned that, oh, well, you can move on from him because you have Calvin Munson. Well, Calvin Munson's not on the team now either. So I don't even know what to do with that.
So, okay, but so then I'm going to take it back though. What to you, other than those two, was the most surprising cut, right? The most notable cut of anybody that the Dolphins let go?
I mean, I'm going down the list. There's not really many guys that I can say were surprising cuts. Like, I kind of expected that Kirk Merritt would get cut because I didn't think that I had a sneaking suspicion Jakeem Grant would stay. Now, granted, it was with a restructured deal. They basically cut his pay, but he's still on the team. Preston Williams, I knew he would stay. I knew that the other guys would stay. So really it was just a matter of Kirk Merritt and Malcolm Perry, and that's who I expected to get cut. And they did. Now, whether they come back to Miami on the practice squad or not, that's still up for grabs. We'll find out tomorrow. So like I'm being dead honest. The only one that I was really surprised by was McKinney.
Okay, fair enough. And we've discussed those. I think the Kirk Merritt one will kind of come up. Will come up in conversation later. Most likely Kai, who has now changed his name to the appropriate answer, which is 19 is my bestie. But
No,
Hassan,
actually, it's my best.
it's my bestie. So maybe that's a Spanish.
Really
Maybe that's a Spanish word for bestie. I don't even know. Hassan,
You might be able to say Shaquem Griffin. There you go. I wanted him to make it, but I'm not entirely shocked. I'm bummed, but I'm not shocked.
Is that who you were going to say, Hassan? Did you just get sniped on that one?
I was gonna say Shaquem Griffin as well, and I just got sniped by Lewis. So Lewis, that's a big FU to you. Honestly, I sort of saw the McKinney thing coming. Once they asked him to restructure as well, I was initially surprised the Dolphins traded to get Bernardrick McKinney. He was just a run stopper guy, terrible in pass coverage, and Miami needs linebackers that can work in pass coverage as well. He's a bit stiff in pass coverage. I said again, they need an inside linebacker who can run stop and who can cover the pass as well. They're going to find somebody in 2022 I covered it on the ATB network as well. Micah McFadden from Indiana is someone to watch out for this upcoming season. I would say Shaquem Griffin, but he's a fan favorite. He's 6 foot 227. He's not the type of pass rusher you're looking for compared to measurables. He's a high energy, high motor guy as well, but for what the Dolphins are looking for, they kept Brennan Scarlett over him. Scarlett himself.
Scarlett, I wasn't surprised by.
He's 6'4", 263 pounds. And, he's played in Houston as well. Totaled 1,369 defensive snaps, a lot in special teams. His 2018 was his best season. He had 2 quarterback hits, 5 run stops, an interception, and pass block before he got injured. Then in 2019, he was doing really well as well. 19 quarterback pressures, 19 run stops, 3 tackles for loss, and he missed.
Am I the only one that lost the song right there?
Sam is down.
You are not.
Okay.
Basically, he's breaking down the Brennan Scarlett history, and again, I was not surprised to see Brennan Scarlett stay on the team because I after watching him in training camp after just 2 days, I could already tell that he was going to make the roster just because he's been doing really, really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Scarlett actually gets more snaps than Jalen Phillips starting out. That's how much I really feel about that.
I do want to get back to Shaquem because Shaquem was absolutely a fan favorite of us on the Extra Yard. I know Kai was a big fan of his. I know we were all big fans of his. Alfredo,
I was a fan of his for a specific reason, but can't get into that.
That's fine.
I love the Shaquem Griffin story. I had my artist go ahead and just do a graphic. I posted it when he was signed on because it was too little too late because I wanted the Dolphins to pick him up when he was first coming out. But like I said, I wasn't surprised, just disappointed because, and as Alfredo's pointed out several times, he was in on pretty much every single special team snap with the starters. You would think that at that point you at least bring him on as a special teams specialist. Now we are hearing, I think Barry reported it, that if he makes it and he ends up not making it back onto the practice squad, because again, the practice squad is a lot more liberal than it used to be right now, thanks to the whole, one good thing did come out of COVID, and it's that the practice squad has been ginormously extended. Now you can have up to 16 guys. 6 of them can be veterans with over 2 years of experience. You can protect 4 of them. So Shaquem Griffin can easily just come right back again, and we can kind of pick him up for later.
Right. But I did want to, because Alfredo, you had mentioned that Shaquem was playing well and that he looked like he was playing well enough to get a spot on this team. Is that a guy that you think should have stuck around, or is he just one of those guys that they were like, if we put him on the practice squad, we can keep him there and he probably won't get sniped? Like, why cut him at this point?
Well, I think it's a numbers game. First of all, the guy that I was completely shocked that they actually cut was Calvin Munson. Because if you want to talk about a natural replacement or a natural backup for Orlando Roberts, a guy that plays with a lot of violence, he rolls downhill. Like, this is the guy that plays fast, plays hard. Like I said, plays with violence, just like Orlando Roberts. He's a clone. But they cut him. And you start to think to yourself, okay, so what are they really thinking as far as that position? And then you start to remember, okay, they're going to play a lot more fronts this year, a lot more different fronts. And if they play eagle fronts, and eagle fronts are very simple. It's you just head up on the center and on the guards, so you're not shooting gaps, right? If you start playing that type of defense, which they did show that they were playing it, especially in the Atlanta game, then you really don't only need a middle linebacker that could run 2 gaps, right? And then a guy like Sam Eguavoen is kind of valuable as a backup. So they kind of tipped their hand like, okay, we don't want Calvin Munson. We just cut Benardrick McKinney. So who is Orlando Roberts' natural backup? And it's Sam Eguavoen. Like that's what begins to show up. On Shaquem Griffin, we talked about it on the podcast last night. I thought we had a great podcast last night. Yeah, if you notice, we went extra long.
71 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, we went extra long. We went like an hour and 11 minutes. You see? That's math. And we talked about Shaquem Griffin, and I was surprised because, why would you waste all of these first-team snaps on special teams on Shaquem Griffin if he's not going to make the team? And obviously, there's one obvious answer. They asked Danny Crossman at the end of the process, do you need this guy? And Danny Crossman said no. And CK made a great point. Like watch Shaquem Griffin. What's his specialty on defense? What can he contribute on defense? He's a pass rusher. First of all, he doesn't fit their profile. Second of all, watch him all preseason. Watch him in camp. Going up against tackles,
he gets
couldn't
washed.
beat tackles.
He gets washed.
Yeah, he can't beat tackles. And let's face it, he has one deficiency that he just can't make up.
Well, and let's be honest, if he was gonna beat any tackles, it probably would have been the Dolphins' backup tackles. Like if you couldn't beat those guys, listen. Let's be honest. The line isn't what it should be. If you couldn't beat those guys, the backup guys, you're probably in a tough spot. Kai, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Most notable cut to you. Surprising? You're just upset. Most like, yes, we got rid of this guy. I never wanted him. Who's it be?
Wait, can I really say the yes, we got rid of him?
Yeah, do it.
Royal, can you speak for me real quick?
Yeah, Patrick Laird.
Thank you.
White chocolate.
My case. It's like, oh man, we've been asking for this for so long, and Patrick Laird is no longer on the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, he'll be
It
back.
is great.
He's like Isaiah Ford. Don't worry.
Oh my god!
Okay,
But
it's
look,
like
at
a
least
cold
it's
deep
What
Yeah,
did
you're
Patrick Laird
At least
ever do to
Isaiah
you,
Ford
Connie?
is-
For real, I really need to
I'm
know.
not answering that question. At least Isaiah Ford is useful. Like, I even when he's not
Yeah,
useful,
he can spy on
like,
the Pats and then come back.
dude, he can put on that number 20 and hit the IR, and I'm chilling. Like, look, Patrick Laird. I feel like the Patrick Laird stuff has been. He's one of those guys that we've had since that 5-11 year that have just stuck around. Like they're just there.
They're culture
Like, if-
guys.
Let's say that your guy Juan Trill got cut and Patrick
Hey,
Laird was
chill.
taking
My
that
dog
spot.
Trill was at practice every day. The
But you
first
get what
guy
I'm saying?
out there on the
Like,
field.
let's say that
working.
he's the one that gets cut and Patrick Laird's the one that
He
takes the
probably will.
spot.
Though.
I'd be annoyed. But like, I'm.
Wait,
Patrick
hold on a
Laird
second.
off
Hold on a
the
second.
roster,
True Williams
chilling.
was the first guy out on the practice field.
Every single practice.
Not
No,
Tua,
Christian
not
Wilkins.
Tua, right? Not Tua. I riot.
No.
I'm gonna
Christian
riot.
Wilkins was the first guy out there. Every
Yeah,
time.
Christian Wilkins. Yeah,
And
Christian
Shaquem
Wilkins used
Griffin.
to-
Griffin and
Yeah.
Wilkins. I don't want to hear no True
Nah.
Williams.
True
That's
Williams
some
was
lie
the
because I
first
sat there
one.
with Juan a couple
Only in
times.
your mind,
single
Juan.
time.
Only in your mind. He was the first one that
Never.
you saw.
Listen, True
Never.
Williams. I will say this: True Williams to me is a very, very nice, bump on one coverage that everybody kind of blew
bully.
out of proportion. They're like,
Yeah.
True Williams is here to stay. Like it is what it is. You're happy
Dude's
that
built
Patrick
like a
Laird's gone.
linebacker wearing 51.
No. He has the number of a linebacker, so it's throwing you off. I don't think he's
Nah.
really.
He's
gonna
like
get
a
it
linebacker.
changed.
I'm with 3 yards per
take
carry.
6.
I'm upset he was wearing 51. This is stupid.
Could I speak
I think
about Trill a
everyone
little
is.
bit? Could I speak
Do
about
it.
Trill a little bit as well?
Do it, but
Yeah.
if we don't like it, we'll cut
So,
you off.
Me and some of the ATB guys spoke to his dad a little bit, and look, we spoke with his dad a little bit, and regarding the number 51, he's wearing 51 to confuse the heck out of these running backs and these quarterbacks as well, because he's wearing number 1 a linebacker number. However, his dad wants him to wear an actual cornerback number just so people can put respect on his name. I was surprised he actually fell to a UDFA role. I expected him to get drafted around the 5th, 6th round, but injuries hampered him a little bit. But if you get a guy who's 6'2", who's around I believe 210, 215 pounds, can play inside, can play outside, can play safety, and as a dime backer, you have a versatile guy. And I think he could be this year's version of Nick Needham. I mean, that's how good of a development I think the Dolphins can take Trill Williams for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and one thing on Trill Williams, I think I posted this earlier. I put it on OnlyFans or whatever. I probably did put it on OnlyFans because they pay us. So I put the top snap getters in special teams in camp and in the preseason, and they were in order: Trill Williams, Shaquem Griffin, Clayton Fagellum, and Duke Riley. 3 of those guys made it. Shaquem Griffin didn't. So what does that tell you? It tells you what I said earlier. I think they asked Danny Crossman, keep one and get rid of one, and he made his choice.
But they kept 12 DBs. Last year they kept 10. And
That's what I was about to
I was
comment.
thinking 11 was enough.
That's the least
12 is
surprising
already-
thing ever, though.
yeah.
They signed
Yeah.
like 14 in the offseason.
And then 5 tight ends as well was kind of surprising as well for me.
Ethan Carter, I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, I think Ethan Carter won the
Yeah.
fullback job. That's what he did.
I don't think he really
The
came on
fullback
as a
job
fit
no
tight
one's
end.
ever going to use because we're not going to use no fullback.
Yeah.
What we have
And when-
Malcolm Brown. He's the power back. Said no one.
Listen, you know who's gonna be the fullback when push comes to shove? It's
Not
gonna be
Patrick
either
Laird.
it's gonna be Solomon Kinley or it's gonna be Christian Wilkins. We're not gonna use no friggin'
No.
Ethan Carter as a fullback. It's not gonna happen.
I could see Ethan Carter being a roster cut in the next couple of days once we start picking up a couple of players from the waiver wire. But Alf, I want to ask you this: if we're still on the topic of linebackers right now, do you see KJ Wright as a possibility?
No, I don't think he fits. And he's also 32. Guys that play that physically and reach 32, and then the
He's
whole
ancient.
league. Yeah, and then the league just starts looking at them like, you know. And he's still out there. That means
Sad
he's
times,
probably
Royal.
done. He's technically done.
Sad times for Royal, who is decently over 32, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there. We're not saying you're basically at the end of your life, and then I don't know what the hell Alfredo is. Alfredo, before you mention your guy, I'm going to say mine so that there's one less person for you to pick because I'm surprised he hasn't been taken off the board. And I'm going to go with Malcolm Perry, only because I'm not really that surprised. It makes a lot of sense to me.
That's why you're
versatile.
surprised.
Huh?
He balled out. That's why you're surprised.
No, I'm not surprised though. I feel
So
like
why is he your
everybody
choice to be surprised?
because everybody left. That's the only one people know. Who am I going to talk about? Tyson Render. He's just going to go to the Patriots practice squad.
Don't say Tyson.
don't
Render
say
around
Tyson.
Alfredo.
Alf's about to
Alfredo.
get on you. Alf's
Look at
about to get
Alf,
on
bro.
you.
Alf is
Listen,
ready.
if he wants that to be his guy, I'm glad I let.
Stop the cap.
Listen,
You see,
Mike.
that time it didn't make sense though. That
And
time
ma-
stop
we
the
all-
cap didn't make sense.
we'll make-
I don't even get the reference. So
But look, Malcolm Perry.
course
I
not.
think a lot of
Yes.
people were like, "Oh, they can't cut him because then he's going to go to the Patriots." Let him go to the Patriots. I'm not worried about Malcolm Perry. I think it was a fine cut. I think it makes sense, and I agree with having kept someone like Jakeem Grant over Malcolm Perry. Now, I am curious if Jakeem Grant says no to that restructuring of the deal.
He
Most
gone.
likely they cut him.
He gone.
Is Malcolm Perry taking that spot, or do you think Kirk Merritt is taking that spot, Alfredo?
That's a good question, right?
Yes, I did it. I stumped him.
Yeah, I think maybe Kirk Merritt, but I don't know. There's evidence to suggest that Kirk Merritt really didn't have a shot onto this roster. The guy that I was most surprised, and I said it in the previous segment, like there is no other guy to get. It was Calvin Munson. Like that's the guy that I was most surprised for two reasons. First of all, I thought that he was a natural, backup for Orlando Roberts, like I said in the previous segment. And let's face it, Duke Riley hasn't been good this whole camp.
yeah,
run
he
up.
was
Nope.
he was the surprise that he made it. Like of all the guys that you could have cut, Duke Riley should have been one of them.
But Duke Riley is one of
teams.
those guys that has a reputation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they signed him, everybody that has watched him play,
I remember you
Especially
said it
in
in the
Philadelphia.
post-game show.
yeah, he would become a natural fit as the captain of the special teams as soon as he got here. So I guess we get to see him on special teams, but on
Maybe-
defense, he hasn't been that good.
Maybe this is another Nick. I tweeted it out. Maybe this is another Nick Needham situation where basically like Brian Flores and coaches see something in Duke Riley that we don't, because Nick Needham looked awful and we all thought he was going to be a goner, and he obviously was not. So maybe Duke Riley, there's something hidden underneath that exterior that Brian Flores sees and can develop.
I don't know. For me, if I had to pick between Duke Riley from the limited I've seen and the guy we had last year, the other Hawaiian linebacker
Gruger
who
Hill.
played special. Listen, I'd rather have Grugier Hill. I liked him. I thought it was a good fit.
Tateo.
Bro, listen, man, Tateo's with his girlfriend. Alfredo, give us the one name that you think is left that is worth talking about, that deserves some airtime.
They got cut.
Yes.
There's
I wanted to
nobody
make
left
it
worth
Chris Meyer.
talking about.
Exactly.
Jared
I
Dokes, in
told
your
you,
opinion?
Tyson Render.
Not
Jerry
even Jared
Dokes. Jared Dokes
Uh,
dropped maybe 40, 50
Yeah.
balls in training camp. There's no way you can make the team just by scoring 2 touchdowns on the third preseason game. He is what he is. He's a stash on the practice squad for a year, and maybe he gets a call up during the season when he's needed and he can perform. But I don't think they cut anything really that was really worthwhile. The one that
Chris Myrick, I mean, he caught the touchdown at the end. Alf, no?
And it was his only catch of preseason, wasn't it?
Okay, be honest. That's 6
Yeah.
tight ends on the roster. Are you really gonna have 6 tight ends on the roster?
You know, maybe they should go pick up Thad Moss. You saw that he got cut. He ripped us an ass, and then the Bengals cut him the next day. You know, Randy Moss's son, Thaddeus Moss, and he changed his name to Thad Moss too. But
Well, didn't
You
the
don't have to
Packers
play.
just cut a tight end that everybody's like screaming? Why did they do that?
no, and the Bills did too. Jacob Hollister.
Shouldn't
So-
the Bengals have cut that other LSU guy who keeps dropping passes?
No, and you know another thing, I remember when the Patriots picked up Michael Jackson. Remember out of the U? Remember?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Big,
No, I do
tall,
not, baby.
lang,
oh, you said Michael
big,
Jackson.
tall, built, big, tall, lanky, fast, and everybody was like, "Oh, the Patriots are going to turn him into something. He's going to be like he's the next Aqib Talib." They cut him
Yep.
today.
Yep. I do want to say, I think it's funny you bring up Jamar Chase only because, Juan, I want to say, woof, bro. Woof, dude. You were like,
Or
Guess,
you know,
guess,
you were like
guess who's
Jamar
live
over
right
Jalen.
now, Mike.
You were
Guess
like
who's
Jamar
live right
over
now?
Jalen.
And this is just all ammo for me in week 5. Just bow.
So Jamar Chase, week 5, he's going to lie with the Dolphins? That's what you're saying?
I don't even think they play week 5.
So then what are you talking about week 5?
Because that's all it takes, bro. He takes a couple games, he gets his confidence back.
'cause
he
he's
to
got
learn how to
some-
catch.
Yeah.
Because they'll put him on IR in week 5 to stash him for next year.
Bro looks spooked out there, bro. I don't know.
He
what-
Look, if we have any money in the budget as far as production, and you could put Kermit drinking tea in my box, do that right now.
About Jamar? About Jamar,
Yes.
right? Listen,
sure.
Juan, bro, you.
I wanted
wolfed on that one.
either Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith. I didn't want any part of Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase was
Same here.
not it, homie.
Same
we
here.
got
I was
one
not
other
too.
boy week 1.
What?
We got
Oh,
Oh,
Mac
that's right.
Jones.
No. I'm
Facts.
saving that. We
Facts.
gotta save the Mac Jones
My
stuff. We
bad.
gotta save. That's an entire show. Okay, that's gonna be
Facts.
45 minutes.
That's Juan's guy
of us-
there.
of
I
us
By the way,
yelling
does
at
anybody?
Juan.
There it is. There it is.
That's gonna be 45 minutes of us yelling at Juan and Juan saying, "No, Mac
Somebody
Jones
has
is
to
gonna
make
be
the
just as good as
Photoshop.
Sam Darnold."
Look, I'm gonna make the
You're
executive
starting to ball
decision
it
here.
too.
I'm on it.
I'm gonna make
Thank
the
you,
executive
Mike.
decision here. Somebody has to make a Photoshop of that Kermit drinking tea with a 5 Reasons hat on. Okay,
I'm on
and
it.
that's gonna
I'm
be
literally on it
our
right now.
that's
Don't
gonna be
ask
our
me
calling
questions,
card.
I'm on it.
You talking to
Okay.
super producer Kachen Chisholm over there, man.
Yeah, he's got it. He's quick. He's quick.
But does
Okay?
anybody before we move on to the obvious thing, right? Well, two
We have
obvious
to.
things.
Do we
Well,
have
two
to?
obvious things. But does anybody have any cuts out there that were interesting? Because I have one that's really interesting. Bengals cut Puka Williams.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah. From Kansas.
Yeah, like
I was surprised too. But
now I don't watch Bengals preseason games. Was he that bad? Because this guy was like a
Who's
legitimate.
that?
prep
Who's
prospect.
that? Who's that running back that Brandon likes so much? The small one.
Javion Hawkins.
Yeah, he's also out there. And the Jets cut Lamar Jackson, not that Lamar Jackson,
The
but
DB.
the one out of Nebraska.
We don't need no more
Long, lean,
DBs.
fast.
No more DBs.
Huh?
No,
12 is enough.
Juan's always gonna take another
Gonna have
one.
to convert Brandon Jones to a linebacker.
well, let's
Des
talk about some of these-
Fitzpatrick was notable. The Titans
Let's talk-
traded up 3 spots in the 4th round
Yeah.
to get him, and they ended up cutting him as well. Another one was Cornell Powell from the Chiefs. He's
Mhm.
what I believe he's 6'1", 6'2", 215. He's an he's a number 1 type of wide receiver with his body type, and I think he just needs a little bit more technique training, and he could be something. He could be something. I don't know if Miami is going to take a chance to pick him up in such a crowded wide receiver room, but I would want to monitor where Cornell Powell goes.
And the
What about
Detroit
Devonta
Lions, I
Freeman,
think
Mike?
I was just about to say that, Alfredo.
Who?
the Detroit
Oh,
Lions, I
nice.
think didn't they cut Cameron Fleming?
Oh no.
Who cut Cameron Fleming? Because the Dolphins tried to sign him 2 years ago as a swing tackle, and then he went to the Dallas Cowboys. Then he went to the Giants. I think it was the Giants that probably cut him. He's only 28 years old, so if you want to back up right tackle, left tackle,
I think he was with the Broncos.
Yeah,
okay.
Broncos
No,
have
yeah,
a lot
the
of
Broncos
offensive
cut him.
linemen too.
Can I just say I'm happy Jake Fromm got cut? Like I'm really happy about that one.
Jake from State Farm.
Listen, Jake Fromm is an idiot. I made the mistake of watching that one. Netflix had that QB show, right, of the high schoolers. I don't know if you guys watched that.
Jake Fromm
Yep.
was a beast, bro.
Was that him
Bro,
for
Jake
real?
Fromm on that show though was the most annoying thing to watch. It was always just him going out fishing or doing
Nah.
something in a barn or some crap
What's
like
the
that.
wide receiver from Miami who used to play quarterback? Well, he's not in Miami anymore.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah. That's why I watched it. I watched it because
Yeah.
of Las Vegas.
Tate Martell.
Tate
Tate
Martell.
Martell. That's him, bro. He was annoying as shit on the show too.
Oh, he was.
You guys
awful.
want to laugh? Tate Martell still has another year of eligibility.
Oh my god, yeah.
He's like 26.
You know what?
Yes.
Hold on. We got to hold on. I don't know how we haven't brought it up yet. I know we brought up that we're not going to talk about the week 1 matchup, but we have to talk about how we got to the week 1 matchup because Cam Newton's.
Anybody want to
run
sign
zone-
Forrest Lamp?
Bro, Forrest Lamp
That's
is a
an
different
interesting one.
conversation.
Like, what's
He's
happened
been
to
injured
him?
a lot, man.
Yeah,
He
Forrest Lamp
was-
don't
I
matter.
wanted him as a guard back in 2017, but
Mhm.
I don't know about those injury concerns, man.
I think if he got cut, it probably shows that it wasn't working out. But
If you want to fix the offensive line, just taking a risk with injuries, I'm still saying Mitchell Schwartz, and you get Forrest Lamp to play one of the guard spots. There, 2 spots fixed as long as they stay healthy. It's a big if, but it would fix it.
I think I would be look personally. This is my belief. If they were going to fix the spots just like that by just showing up and being plugged in, somebody would have signed them by now because the offensive line position is not something that is at a surplus in the NFL.
Yeah, but
So
we
that's
already
the-
know that the Dolphins don't like signing veterans on the offensive line. They hate
But
it.
it's
Like they're
also more than
allergic.
that. Like offensive linemen are very hard to come by. Like good, stable offensive linemen that you can have faith in from day one. If they were that, I think they would have been signed somewhere by now.
It took forever for Josh Sitton to find a home.
That's
And when we finally picked him up, he got hurt in week 1, but he was for the time that he was out there, he was the best offensive lineman by far on that whole roster, and he was the oldest. He was the oldest guy out.
Yeah, one week,
Lewis. That's it.
1
Let's
week.
not overreact to
That's all
1
it took. Nobody
No,
else got
2
even
quarters.
close.
Let's not
All
overreact.
quarters.
to
He's
1
gonna
week.
get hurt too.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not
we
gonna
gotta
do
Talk
that.
about Cam Newton. We're about to talk
Yeah.
about Cam.
I want to talk about Cam. Is
No,
Cam
I don't want to talk about
Mac
Cam.
Jones or is Cam the vaccination thing? Right,
It's
like
all
it's
the
COVID
latter.
words.
It's
all
a
of
mix
it.
of it's a mix.
It's
of
the
everything.
latter. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yeah, I'm with Lewis. I think it's the vaccination thing, bro.
It's
no
the
way
vaccination thing because today
Yeah.
Adam Beasley said, "Oh, and his uninspiring play." I looked up his uninspiring play. He was 12 of 16 for 152 yards and a touchdown. He was damn good this preseason.
And
Okay.
again, we will talk more about the preview when we get there.
But the
me
guy-
personally, I'm
think
more
about
worried
it.
about Cam Newton because of
You
his
work-
running ability.
You work for Bill Belichick and you couldn't get on a plane because you forgot about the COVID protocol. You're expendable. You're gonna get cut.
And there's a decent amount of people that got cut today. I think somebody, I don't remember the exact numbers, but there's a decent amount of people that got cut today that were unvaccinated that probably would have had a spot if they just had it. And I understand that people say it probably shouldn't play a part, but it did.
And Urban Meyer said the quiet part out loud.
He's not making it 12 months. I promise you, he's not making it.
Yeah,
12
Urban Meyer,
months.
He's got to get investigated, bro. Isn't he about to get
Yes.
investigated by that?
Yeah, the NFLPA is
Again.
trying to investigate, and somebody has to tell Urban Meyer this is not the SEC. This is the NFL. There are rules here.
They're just gonna set up an office in Jacksonville, and they're gonna just know every week they gotta go in and
What is it
investigate some
exactly that
shit.
Urban said? I want just in case people didn't hear it.
That he was taking that into consideration. If one guy was equal to another one and he wasn't vaccinated, I cut the unvaccinated guy.
Yeah.
But,
Ooh,
but
you know who else came to mind, Alf? Quincy Roche. He was cut by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He had good tape against the Dallas Cowboys in the first game.
Kylie couldn't help him out, bro. Kylie
From the
couldn't help him
University
get
of
a spot.
Miami. He's the odd
I was
man out.
surprised by that cut. They took him over, I think, a third-year player. I mean, Roche was a high-profile, fourth or fifth round pick, if I'm not mistaken. He did well as an outside linebacker. He's good against the run.
Yeah.
Pass coverage, he's a bit iffy, but I can see why. I can see why the Steelers would have cut him because of that depth in that linebacker core.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I have to bring up Kendall's comments. That whole Bishop Sycamore thing is wild.
Cam's going to be the
Embarrassing,
starting
bro.
quarterback
It's even
with
more
Bishop
wild that
Sycamore.
they got destroyed like 56-0.
They were out there super hype. And didn't they have the
Yeah,
big
it's all
snap
fun
to
and
the quarterback?
it's all fun and games until Bishop Sycamore signs Cam Newton. Then they're gonna start dominating.
And they're gonna start dominating the imaginary high school football league of Ohio. My goodness, I can't believe they got away with that. I think that's cut wise, there was some names that got cut, but I think at the end of the day, we all think the Dolphins made the better moves. I do want to throw it to Alfredo because we have to talk about it. And I want to let you handle it because I think you'll handle it better than the rest of us. The media today was absolutely wild when it came to the Miami Dolphins on what was coming out, what was being said. There are certain members of certain websites, Yahoo, who are saying some things that I don't listen. I didn't even know Yahoo still existed. I don't know what to do with that. Alfredo, just can you give us what happened today? The summation of what it was. Was it a reaction? What's true? What's not? What's going on?
Barry Jackson stabbed Charles Robinson in the heart with a trident.
Oh, listen,
This is what
Barry
happened.
Jackson bodied him. Charles
Barry was
Robinson
not
got
playing around,
bodied.
man.
Oh
he
my
wasn't
God.
playing around.
Flexed it.
And his
But-
tweets have been something else, just phenomenal.
This is usually the time where I try to smooth things over, okay, with like a media member because I might see them, at a practice or a camp or at a game, And I do respect a lot of the guys. I respect Joe Shad, Omar Kelly. Those guys do a fine job. But fuck Charles Robinson, okay? and I'll explain to you why, okay? This guy's a complete. This guy is a
we're walking a
complete.
dangerous line with that.
This guy was a complete and total utter fake during the entire Hurricanes investigation.
Yeah.
That guy sought out Nevin Shapiro not once, not twice. It turns out he visited him in fucking jail for like 14, 15 times to try to buff up his story. Then when he prints out his story falls apart over the next 2 years, and there are no consequences over it. Nobody gave a shit that his whole story was a big pile of shit. Okay? And what did he do? He basically destroyed the program for about 18 months. For what? For nothing. Because Jacory Harris got a suit, and some other dude got a ride on a party boat.
Yep.
And some other guy got an abortion paid for.
Let's
for
not
his
talk
girlfriend.
about the things that Alabama and Ohio State and Florida State and other places definitely
USC.
did. USC.
Okay, so here comes Charles
State.
Robinson this time, right? Okay, and it's the Watson story, and he knows everything. Okay, Dolphins will tell us shit, but Charles Robinson knows every goddamn thing that Brian Flores is thinking, and all of a sudden he's Johnny on the spot with every single story on this. Go fuck yourself, Charles Robinson.
Yes, bodied, dog. Bodied.
Did I handle it okay? I handled it about as bad as I could.
Can we can we talk about something else now?
I honestly hold on.
Update on the picture. It's quite difficult. I cannot lie.
Yeah, it's because he's
I'm
sideways. And you
working.
gotta get the hat. You'll
trying.
get it together. Look,
I'll be back.
whatever happens concerning trades or not trades, we here at the Extra Yard have taken a stance. Alfredo, he's going to mention it because Alfredo can handle it better than the rest of us, and Alfredo's the one who can say stuff like that. If Alfredo says it, I'm chill. If we say it, I don't think we're doing too
Look,
much.
I don't want to hear about Deshaun Watson again until he's either in prison or completely cleared of all charges.
Yep.
That's it.
That's how we're going to run it. And that's how we're going to run it here at the Extra Yard. We aren't going to talk about him. Kai mentioned it on Sunday.
So if he goes to jail, I guess we're not talking about him anymore. If he's completely cleared, wow, there's a great quarterback out there that could be had for draft compensation.
Yeah. And everybody has a right to feel whatever way they want to about trading for him or not, but that is not something we will discuss on the show. Those are not conversations we want.
Now, if you ask me, is he a talent? I think he's the third best quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about it, but he keeps bringing it up. I'm trying to move on.
Oh, I'll keep talking about it if you want me to. Like I'll fill up the next 20 minutes.
I think
I
we're
want
chilling.
you to, Alfredo. I want you to, Alfredo.
Listen, we all want him to, but we can all hear that after we're done, once we've ended the broadcast and we're all behind the scenes and we can say and do whatever we want. Until then, he will not be discussed on the show. I'm going to treat him as he who shall not be named. He is Voldemort.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
Voldemort.
Anybody want to sign Lamar Miller?
No
shot.
He's
I'm
dead.
taking Le'Veon Bell. No.
Did you guys ever see the movie Major League? When the guy goes, this guy right here is dead, and she goes, well, cross him off then.
Yep.
When they were inviting guys to Lamar Miller's dead. Forget about Lamar Miller.
I'm not.
Want to sign Alfred Morris?
No. The only running back name I'm signing is Le'Veon Bell, and don't get me started on that. We've talked about a bunch of cuts. We've talked about all the craziness that was going on. And I think Alfredo handled that beautifully. honestly, I think that about does it for our show. We have another show coming up this week, Thursday at 9 p.m. It's going to be a more normal extra yard show, although we don't have really a game to preview. So that should be interesting to see how that goes. Again, 3 yards per carry is out. That came out yesterday. 3 yards per carry, 3 yards per carry will come out again tomorrow night. Correct, Alfredo?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Every Monday and Wednesday, definitely check that out. I'll also check out OnlyFins if you want real insider stuff. You'll be a lot smarter than the rest of your Dolphins fans friends if you sign up for OnlyFins, and it is super cheap. Trust me, it's a really good get. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Juan just put out a bullish, bearish video. You can find that link on his Twitter account. It should be very easy to find. It is an interesting video. He's doing better with his editing. He's trying, guys. Like, it's Juan. You know,
Hey, we got 10 minutes here. Nobody wants to do some Mac Jones talk or what?
Well, speaking of editing,
listen,
really quick,
we were saving Mac Jones.
I tried my best.
That looks like Eminem is wearing it.
I tried so hard. There's only one PNG image of a 5R hat, and it's from the website. I'm gonna try to put him in a T-shirt, but
I think we can talk Mac Jones, but I think we have another show coming up this week, and you're
trying to save it for that?
We gotta save a little bit. I mean, we talked 40 minutes about Jakeem Grant. I'm hoping we never have to do that again. Honestly, that is definitely what I'm going.
Yeah, what's wrong? By the way, what's wrong with some Dolphin fans, man? Because I think I found the tweet of the century. I'm not gonna out the guy, okay? Because I'm not gonna fill up his mentions with angry. With angry Dolphin fans. But I responded to a guy today that says, "Oh, great, Mac Jones is gonna pick apart this dog shit secondary of the Dolphins." And I'm reading it and I'm like, bro, what?
Hold on. Why do you have to call out Juan's burner like that? Like, you should know better. You
I
should know
say
better.
enough crazy stuff on my own Twitter. I don't think I need a burner at this point.
Listen, you should know better than to call out Juan's burner like that. And well,
today there was one guy who opened an account in July and decided it was a good idea to follow me and follow 3YPC with the name Death to Tua Stands. And
that might be my burner. I'll claim that one.
And then I decided, okay, now this guy just followed me and followed 3YPC. I gotta check his timeline. And his whole timeline is, I hope Tua breaks his neck, and Tua is terrible. Gosh. And it's the most vile account.
You know who that is?
Tua Tagovailoa.
That's probably Colin Cowherd's burner. That's probably that's probably Colin Cowherd coming through. He opened that account right after whatever happened with his daughter. And
by the way, did Colin Cowherd essentially call Tua a $10 hooker? That's what he did on his show.
Yeah, he called him a $10 pool table compared to Justin Herbert or someone else.
I've stopped clicking on anything where I see his name or his face because I'm like, I don't feel like hearing stupidity. There's enough of it out there in the world.
But yeah, I saw that Death to Tua Stands guy, and I didn't even bother. I immediately just went, you know what? Let me block him on both accounts. I don't even want to start in with this guy. But they're out there. They're out there. They're out there.
No, it's the same. It's always the same thing every single year. There's more people who are concerned about being right than about the team's success. The same thing with Ryan Tannehill when he was here. They would prefer that Tannehill continue to suck than him actually get good because they want to prove that he is a terrible quarterback. It's the same thing with Tua now. They want to be so right that Justin Herbert was the right choice that they will go to their graves praying that Tua sucks so that they can say, "I told you we should have picked Justin Herbert." That's how people are.
And all of those people can continue to live unhappy lives. And I will continue to be a fan of a team that I think has made right decisions so far, and the fan of a quarterback who I think deserves nothing but at least this next season. Good Lord, the criticisms being thrown that guy's way.
Tua is too clean, Mike. He's not edgy enough.
Nah, Tebow was never hated this much. Tebow was never hated this much.
Okay, I think you're forgetting how much Tebow got criticized. I'm not looking
forward to Tebow's criticism was nowhere near what Tua's been getting.
I'm just ignoring you guys completely.
Bro, Juan, would you go back into your burner, Juan?
Would you say Tua's criticism right now is nearing Lamar Jackson territory?
It's beyond.
Way beyond.
Lamar doesn't get hate for much.
Lamar gets a lot of hate. No, Lamar gets
he gets hate, but not. But people respect him. People respect his game, except for the only thing that they're not respecting with him is supposedly that he's still not very accurate with his throws. I don't see that with Jackson. I think that they're underestimating him
right now.
People go after Lamar Jackson, but it's not this like just seemingly out of nowhere making stuff up to get after him. They hate him for the dumbest thing. Like, he misses one pass, people
Bro,
get
he was
on him and
playing
say,
catch
"Oh, you
with
see, you should
kids
have
in
been running that."
concrete. He was playing
Top
catch
block.
with kids in concrete, and people asked, "Why is he playing? Why is he in concrete?" Like,
You should have seen Juju Smith-Schuster during the crate challenge. Imagine.
Okay,
if
but that was
Felon
dumb.
busted his head.
That was
Imagine if
dumb.
Felon busted his head.
I mean, Alf, we talked about it on Twitter. I thought every team would have had a conversation with everybody about the damn crate challenge, but there was Juju.
Who was it
I
that
mean,
wanted Juju again?
I did.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I did
Yeah.
not. You know why? Because of stuff like that.
Listen,
It's all right.
Juju
Miami
would have
would have
danced
had
on
him doing
any
something
damn logo he wanted as long as he was wearing my jersey. I don't care.
And what about the crate challenge just now?
Did
Brian
he get hurt?
Flores.
Kind of
Did
brain
he get
dumb,
hurt?
the brain dead stupidity that made me not want Juju.
Did he get hurt?
He could have. What the
He
heck are you
didn't.
talking
He's so
about?
athletic, he didn't. That's
Well,
what.
he
That's
didn't.
what
Also,
it
we're
is.
playing the result instead of what he's doing.
Yep, that's
Yes,
what we're
because
doing.
it's Juju,
Just
and I would have
because-
taken Juju.
Okay,
That's
guys,
what
but
we
real
did.
question
So it's
here.
just raw
Real question
bias
here, and this is towards Alf. Alf, will you ever get into a Twitter spat with Colin Coward over Tua Tagovailoa, or is he not worth your time?
I have
Not worth
already. He's responded to me before a billion
shit.
times.
Oh, snap celebrities!
So yeah, no, I have. The one that doesn't respond to anybody is Skip Bayless. You know?
Yeah.
Like he does trolling the right
that's
way.
That's because he's got too much.
Like he
LeBron on
leaves
the brain.
a whole little trail of turds all over Twitter and then doesn't
bounces.
pick them up. Yeah.
Bro.
Bounces. Doesn't even read what they're saying about him.
LeBron
what an
James
asshole,
eats
bro.
a sandwich and
Don't
doesn't cut off
care.
the crust, and Skip
Yeah.
Bayless says, "LeBron doesn't cut off his crust. Does that mean he didn't
Weak,
deserve
he's
any
weak,
of the
he's
MVP
weak."
awards that he got in the past? Let's talk about it. Like Skip, you need relevance. Just go worry about the Cowboys, bro. Your team.
Skip Bayless is the GOAT hater. Like there's nobody
absolutely.
better.
Absolutely.
And his hatred of LeBron is glorious. It
I
really
want
is.
to get this one out there because nobody else was with me on this. Alfredo, do you watch Hard Knocks?
Yes.
You love Hard Knocks, right? Like
Yes, I like it. Yes,
Thank
it's a
you.
good show.
oh my gosh, everybody else is like, oh, Hard Knocks. I love it. I love being in the locker rooms and hearing those conversations, seeing what
Mike,
actually goes
stop
down.
lying to Alfredo Arteaga.
You
We
said-
did not say we hate it. I just
No,
said
you
I
guys
haven't
said you
kept
don't
up.
like it.
I didn't. I said we haven't kept up this year. Personally, I haven't kept up this year. I'm all caught up
said-
now.
I said I
watched
haven't
We're
episodes.
busy, man. We got a network to run. That's what we got going on.
What? I got Hard
Ethan
Knocks
has a
to
network
watch.
Ethan
Yeah,
has a
I-
network
exactly.
to run.
I got
Although
I have
Hard
a network
Knocks-
to destroy.
Although Hard Knocks has some interesting things that just don't make any sense to me. Like if you're
Like, Joe
Ezekiel
Philbin's
Elliott,
still in the NFL.
yeah, I found out Joe Philbin is actually the offensive line coach of the Dallas Cowboys, which is wild to me.
Which, hold on a second. Didn't he not curse when he was on Hard Knocks with the Dolphins? But then
Yeah.
now that he's on with the Cowboys, he's been cursing like crazy.
Now
am I
it's
the only-
now it's a
the
fuck
Cowboys
a second.
that-
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
no, but when he was in Miami, one player cursed and he was like, "Guys, we
We're
gotta,
gonna be
not
buttoned
do
up.
that.
We're
Like,
gonna be
let's
buttoned
do,
up.
let's do
Good
better
young
with this stupid
gentlemen.
left-handed clap." Listen, I have nothing against left-handed people, but Philbin made me hate people that clap like this. I can't do it.
And by the way, how do you guys feel about Ezekiel Elliott buying a really expensive bag for Dak Prescott, who makes 4 times what he makes?
But didn't Dak get him a
Rich
super
people
good
make
present too?
stupid decisions with a lot of money.
Yeah,
Correct.
Juju Smith-Schuster. He bought all those
So,
crates, and they
I mean-
they look like quality crates. Let's be honest.
I would have
Like-
looked at, if anything, I would look at Dak
haven't
and be
watched
like,
a lot
yo,
of
like,
Hard Knocks yet, but
like
how's
buy me a Bitcoin, you know, like slide me it, like what's good, like, but like I gotta get you a bag, like for what? Like
how's Micah Parsons been so far in the locker room?
Oh, I mean, from the videos that are coming out on Hard Knocks, it's fine.
Well,
They
he
all
hasn't
love him.
teabagged anybody, so that's an
Yeah.
improvement.
I was gonna
Yeah.
see who was gonna open that can of worms up. Yeah, that guy's a weirdo.
If you
I
notice,
mean,
I don't give a
you
shit,
gotta
right?
keep- you
Because
gotta keep-
3
you gotta
YPC
keep your-
didn't
you
get
gotta keep 2
verified
eyes
again,
on that boy.
so-
Didn't get verified again,
Yeah, 3 YPC
bro.
didn't get
Jack, what are
verified.
you doing? It's Jack that runs Twitter, right? The guy's named Jack.
It's fucking
Yeah.
nuts.
Bro, I mean, he doesn't actually do anything with it. But listen, what a random last 10 minutes. I appreciate that we did it, though. With that being said, we will be back Thursday at 9 p.m. 3 yards per carry. We'll be back tomorrow night. Lewis, when's the next Pulse of Fins Nation?
We are aiming to basically do a reaction video after every game. So the next, we're gonna try to do another one next week. I got to get with Ron and find out when that is. But I'm
Okay.
aiming for this weekend is what I'm hoping for.
So next Pulse of Fins Nation should be coming out at some point this weekend. Check out Royal on any NBA stuff if you want to. I mean, you don't have to. I know Welch is going to be in there flaming the man as he should.
He's a blossoming star with the NFL. All right, let's give him his credit. All right,
Yeah,
you,
he's
Warren.
better.
he's working
Don't
the
talk about
sticks,
the NBA.
and you know what? You can learn a lot from Madden. So I'm excited to see those videos where he's just gonna wreck you every single week, Mike.
Now he can't change his
I have a
playbook. I'm
Kermit
going to win.
update.
Oh,
Can I
do
share
a
the
Kermit update.
really quick? Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone, lo and behold, Kermit the Frog.
There we go.
Drinking a
With
tropical bay.
Bro, no cap. I saw
Nice.
Tropical Bay
Nice.
IPA at Disney
Nice.
World, which, let's be honest, that's a pretty big deal. So get you some Tropical Bay IPA. That stuff is fantastic. You'll definitely be hearing more about that during basketball season. We appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to check out the rest of the content we have coming your way. And with that said, fins up.